Hey everyone, this is my 4th episode, which is hard to believe, of Chats with Chels. So today we're doing it a little bit different. We're trying this YouTube live thing, so that's a little different. So here I have my friend and the food girl in town, Gabby Peyton.
Hey everybody.
So, Gabby has a pretty awesome food blog, does some travel blogging, and takes some great photos. So we're going to be chatting about that today. So we're going to start off. So as her food and drink expert, we have the Fogtown Lager, which I have had too many now to, give an accurate taste test. But Gabby, this is her first one.
First try. Cheers. Oh, that's good. That's good. Refreshing.
Yeah.
Love a good lager.
It is. It's like very citrusy. And I just wanted to say, Fogtown, who has an amazing Instagram, I posted my picture of my first Fogtown the other day, and Chris, who I believe runs Instagram, sent me a message, and he's like, hey, what do you think of the brew? So that was excellent customer service. Mm-hmm. So just so you know, it's really great. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you do. What is the Food Girl in Town?
All right. Well, the Food Girl in Town is a blog that I started about 5 years ago now, which is crazy.
Wow.
I actually moved to Halifax and knew nothing about the food. My husband and I moved there. And so I figured I'm going to eat my way through the city and I'm going to write all about it. And yeah, so I just went for it. And from there, I started doing some freelance. I've been freelancing full time for about a year now. I went to journalism school. So it's been pretty awesome.
So I guess in Halifax, there's a wide array of restaurants, just like there is here in St. John's. There's some really awesome ones. So when you're deciding where you're going to write about, how do you make that decision?
Well, for me, I think the biggest thing I go to is if something new. So if something opens, I don't necessarily want to be there the first day because people always have kinks they need to work out, whatever. But I like to be there as soon as possible so I can get the dish. So I can see what everybody is ordering, what's the popular thing, what are they all about? What's the decor like? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I saw your recent post. You just hit Bad Bones Ramen.
I did, which I was really excited because I won't lie, I was slightly intimidated by the line every time I walked by. And I said, screw it, I know this is going to be good, so I need to wait in line. So I went for it.
I have not tried it yet, but...
so good, so good.
What did you have?
I had pork belly ramen, so it was super good. They had regular, just fried pork belly, but also really thick, crispy pork belly. Oh man, it was delicious.
Sounds like I need to wait in this lineup.
It's totally worth it because I think people here get a little bit intimidated sometimes by lineups, or you're really hungry. I get it. You just want to eat, but it's worth it.
So you put these blog posts out. You have the great photos. So what have you found to be the most effective means of getting the word out there about your blog?
I think I get a lot of traffic on my Instagram.
Yep.
That said, people love looking at my photos on Instagram, but it doesn't always, I find, transfer to people going directly to the blog. I think because there's a lot of extra clicking involved that people kind of get I have to go to my profile and I have to go here. But I think Facebook for me is definitely the biggest one. So I have my own page, Gabby Peyton. I also have the Food Girl in Town page.
Yep.
So that for me is the biggest thing because then especially if it's a newer place in town, people are sharing it a lot more. They want to see what, they want to show their friends.
Exactly. So here's the question we're all wondering. What happens if you get somewhere and you don't really like the food?
Okay. I will say I try and be fair. Yeah. When I have worked in restaurants, I served all through my undergrad. I've worked, 6 or 7 years.
So you stack the plates at the end of the table when you give them back, right?
Oh yeah. Servers love that. So basically I think I go and I assess it not necessarily by the quality of food. I look at the service. I look at, did somebody refill my water on time? So I think if I don't necessarily love every dish, I think there's always positive things to find from, and I also really like to find out the story. Who owns the place? What's their background? How do they open the ramen place or those kind of things? So I think those are also really important. So if I don't necessarily love the food, I'm not going to bash it. I'm not going to this was the worst blah, blah, I've ever had. I'm going to kind of just point out the other things and maybe make suggestions on things they got to work on.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I actually saw there's a guy who did a bash. I can't remember. It was a new restaurant, but you went in and gave it a pretty fair fair shot.
Yeah, and actually the owner actually messaged me and said he was really thankful to me that I had given him a really fair review, and that obviously every restaurant, there's no restaurant in the world that opens that is perfect.
Yeah.
So I think that it really meant a lot to him that I went in there with like, you know, a open perspective.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what are some of your favorite spots to go to?
Okay, well, I will say one of my favorite spots, I think it's like a totally under the radar place. It's been around for a long time. It's called Get Stuffed.
Okay, I've heard of it. I've heard of it, but I have not tried it.
I will preface this by saying I used to work there.
Okay,
so
conflict of interest.
A little bit, but I loved it. Like, I love that place. I went like last week. I love it there. Like, really good comfort food. They do great
what should I order?
You should order the brie bundles as an appetizer, and you should order cheese and stew as a side. So they do their mains a la carte, and then they have the sides. You can get like mashed potato, cheese and stew, which is like macaroni and cheese, hash brown casserole, all kinds of stuff. So you can mix and match.
So you literally get stuff. You're so full.
Totally.
You have to like roll out of there?
Pretty much. And they have a get stuff size that's like the steak is like a brick. Like, it's crazy.
Okay, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
So, I just saw you recently had an amazing trip to the Fogo Island Inn. I'm so jealous. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your most recent adventure?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. It's a project I'm working on for North American Traveler. It's a great magazine, an online journal based out of Halifax. So my editor Tiffany sent me there on assignment, and I was super excited to go.
It was a little awkward. You kind of forgot to invite me.
Oh yeah. Well, my husband was also very jealous because he didn't get to go either. Yeah, so basically, I got to go and stay for a couple of days, learn about all the great stuff that the inn does for the island. And yeah, just soak up all the luxury that's there, which is awesome.
So you write for a magazine. Is it a magazine?
It's an online magazine.
Online magazine. So how did you make those connections? So if someone, you know, wanted to start travel writing or food writing, how did you get your start with like those connections?
Well, once I started to like move outside of the blog, it's basically just pitching people. So you're kind of just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So, I mean, I basically would just email, if I had an idea, I would just like email an editor and be like, do you like this idea? Basically, or just like kind of putting me out there. And I think when I was in journalism school, that was something that was really valuable to me. Probably the most valuable thing I learned in journalism school was how to pitch. So they don't want like a huge paragraph about, or like paragraphs about you. They want like 3 lines. What's the idea? What's the story?
Yeah.
So that's basically what I did. Publications that I love to read. That's another big thing. You want to make sure that you know what the publication's about. You don't want to pitch them something they've already published, or, you know, something that is just not up their alley. So yeah, so that basically, just kind of throwing it out there and see what happens.
That's awesome. Yeah. So taking a little bit of chances.
You definitely have to. That's a lot of my job, is just basically throwing stuff out.
So we're going to get into some fun, that was a little preamble, but we're going to get into picking Gabby's brain here for some fun tips that will be really helpful to all of you aspiring social media celebrities. Just kidding.
Oh my God.
Not trying to like make you uncomfortable. So we got your tips for aspiring travel journalists. So let's say I'm like new and I'm like starting a blog and I, you know, just kind of want to get it out there. And what are some of your tips for the newbie bloggers? You know, totally asking for a friend.
I think the biggest thing is just to be yourself. I think there's so many blogs. People start blogs every day. And, you know, people look at these Instagram people, you know, influencers with like hundreds of thousands of followers and like, how can I ever do that? I think the biggest thing is authenticity. I think people really want to see like the real rooms in hotels. They want to see like the real experiences. My most successful blog posts are blog posts about ones that I'm like, crap, either something bad happened to me and I talk about it, or just being real. And I think that's really important. So I think being yourself, because that's what people want to read, is about, you know, they want to read interesting stories. So I think storytelling is like really important, and being authentic. I mean, I think that like you want to do things that not necessarily haven't been done before, but you want to do them in a different way, right? So you don't want to just copy other people's posts. I think also you need to pick a niche. I think, you know, some people worry that if they have niche, then they're not really like, they won't be popular. But I think that's really, you know, people love packing blogs. There's a girl named Travels Fashion Girl. I don't know if you follow her. She only talks about packing. That's all she talks about.
I have like Instagram pictures from my last trip. I just haven't gotten around to doing them, but I've become like a pretty expert packer myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a travel tip.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Did you know about inflatable neck pillows?
I did. I actually don't have one.
What? Like, honestly, I go to the airport and I'm like walking and I'm like, LOL, look at those losers with the neck pillow walking through the airport, right? Because you're like looking at them and you're
super
like,
bulky.
It's super bulky. Like, and like I like travel out of a backpack, so I'm like, So with having the inflatable neck pillow, you're comfy on the plane. It's great. And then you just pack it away in your purse, and no one's like pointing and laughing at you, being like, LOL, look at that loser with the neck pillow.
They are really bulky. And some people have really intense ones. I don't understand how they travel around. And they definitely get super dirty being outside your bag.
The other like amazing packing thing I find is a blanket scarf.
Oh yeah,
like,
key.
Right? Like in the spring I bring like, you know, a scarf that's like a lighter one for like the spring and summer because it gets chilly on the plane, you're like covered up and it's amazing. Yeah. What would you say like as like your number one thing that you have to pack when you're going on vacation? Or I guess I gave choose, so you know, I'll give you a little leeway.
I mean, I think my camera is one that I always take my camera. Yeah. I also always take clothes that are like pretty plain. That's my biggest thing. When I pack, it's like, I want everything on my suitcase needs to match. Yeah. So that I can be like, this pant, this shirt, vice versa. Yeah. And that way, because if you have something really memorable and then you wear it like 5 times on your trip, people will notice. It's
so funny. I have this like one, Old Navy, disclaimer, is like my favorite store. So I have this one shirt. It's like flowery. It's got like blue, orange, yellow, which sounds like it wouldn't match anything, but like it just matches seemingly everything that I pack. But it's my favorite shirt. It's so flattering. I love bringing it on vacation. So the other day I was like looking at like a thing where I had like a group of pictures and I was like, people are gonna think that like I only own one shirt. I was like, because like all my pictures like when I'm highlighting, it's like
on
me.
Instagram, it's like one shirt.
It's like me like kissing a kangaroo. Oh, have the flowery shirt on. Like me in a hobbit hole, same shirt. Like people are gonna think I just only have like one shirt.
Yeah. Well, that's why I only wear like black and navy now because it's just the same all the time. And it's like become very boring in my clothing, but
I also, I don't know if you do this, but like when I'm trying things on, so like I always like buy a couple things like before vacation. I always like take a selfie in the changing room just to see like how that's gonna look on camera.
Totally.
Right? Because like, I don't know, like if you try on a shirt and like, you're like, wow, like looks nice, but then you're on vacation and you have this packed and like someone takes your picture and you're like, oh my God, like that did not look good.
I very rarely now buy new clothes for a trip because unless I'm already really comfortable in it, I just want to know because how many times have I bought like a tank top because it looked cool and then I get on vacation and the strap is like digging into me and I just like, then I don't wear it anymore.
I found like the best thing. It was a Primark in the UK.
I love Primark.
And it was like a rain jacket that collapsed into like a thing that was like this big. It was like super small. And I was so excited. I brought it on 2 trips. And then on the 3rd trip, I was like going to Southeast Asia and Australia and I lost it before I got to Australia, which is where it was winter.
Oh, brutal.
So I didn't even get to wear it and I didn't miss it. So I think I had to book like another trip to the UK just to buy one of those jackets, right? It wouldn't be like cheaper to ship it, I don't think.
I will say actually that's like kind of stemming off this whole niche thing. I think when I started blogging, I tried to be everything. So I had packing tips, I had this, I had I had everything. And then I found people only read my food stuff. So now I just write about traveling to eat. Because it's like really important to kind of focus in on that. So so even though I have packing posts, which actually are super popular, I don't do them very much anymore.
Oh, well.
Maybe I will. I might do one for the Thailand trip that I went on last year because I was at a wedding and I had lots of different things on the go. So that's important. So when you have to pack for like that and you want to go carry on.
When I was going on a recent trip, Gabby sent me a really awesome list of places to eat. But I was staying in a totally different area of town, so I didn't get it, or I didn't get to go to any of them. But the place that I went was Barcelona. Gabby.
Amazing.
So on the topic of food, what was like your favorite tapas?
Oh, my favorite tapas. Oh, that's hard. You know, I really actually liked, there was one that was like really simple, where it's just like a piece of bread and they bring you some like garlic and tomato and you just like rub it on yourself. And it's just like super simple, but like super tasty. I mean, obviously I love a patatas bras.
That's like my number one.
Who doesn't love potatoes?
Honestly, I ate like I was basically a potato when I came home. Like I don't think I've ever eaten so many potatoes in my life.
Yeah. And croquetas, because deep fried cheese.
so much.
Basically Spanish matzo stick. So pretty good.
So you take some pretty great photos while you're traveling. So obviously, like, you bring a DSLR. I may be a little bit lazy and don't bring my DSLR. Yeah. All my pictures, hashtag authentic, probably took it like 10 minutes ago, may have forgot to wipe off my phone, my phone screen. So I give like my pictures like a strong 6, but I give yours like a strong 11 out of 10. So how do you make those awesome photos?
Well, I mean, I do use my camera sometimes. I have a mirrorless camera, so like it's a bit smaller than a DSLR, same quality. So I use that. But I mean, most cameras on phones these days are like super quality. I mean, the biggest thing is don't take pictures in the dark.
Yes.
My husband, I always eat late, so a lot of my dinner pictures don't make it to the gram because they are usually just like candlelit and really crappy. So I don't usually post those. So I usually post lunch and breakfast. But yeah, so you really want like a nice, like naturally lit is like ideal. People love overhead shots, like overhead shots, overhead shots, overhead shots.
How do you avoid getting your shadow in there? That's like always my problem. I'm like, oh.
Okay, so like I literally, when I have my phone, I'll show you. I literally hold it over the table like this. Oh. So I'm kind of away from the table. Like this finger muscle is very good now because I literally can just like firepower on that. That's basically what I do. And I just take like a bunch and then I'll crop. I have Snapseed on my phone, which is like a really great editor. So that's what I use. I also use Lightroom sometimes. But yeah, so editing, I usually edit them before I put them on Instagram.
So you always have like really great Instagram stories. So like you said, storytelling is so important for like anyone who is promoting on social media. So you've told me this before and I forgot to write it down, but there is like this really great thing that like puts your stories together. And what is that thing?
Actually, it's Snapseed.
It's Snapseed. Okay.
Yeah. So Snapseed, so they have this like great text function in there.
Yeah.
And so you can put overlay on that. That's what I actually use the most. There are some apps that you can download, but that's the one I use the best because I just really like the fonts that they have in their little packaging.
So nice.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, stories make Instagram. Like Instagram now has become just so. Like I said, I mean, I don't even post photos that aren't nice because everybody's Instagram account looks beautiful. It's so perfect. But Instagram stories are like real. They're like the real thing. So like mine are always like either me lying on the couch with a coffee or like me baking or doing something different. But that's what I love. So I love telling stories that way.
Yeah, sure. And yours always turn out so well. So Snapseed, I am going to have to download that and use it. Also, to the makers of Instagram, if I ever become famous and you're watching this or listening to this, for the love of God, get some new fonts.
Oh,
right?
awful.
It's so bad.
Awful. Like, it literally blows my mind.
Like, they're so advanced in so many ways, like, but the fonts, oh God, they're just so awful, right? And it just, like, kind of makes it seem like it's, like...
Arial. It's like an Arial. It's awful.
So you said you take some Snap stories of your baking, and I always see you, like, cooking amazing things, so... I know that you're, like, a little worried about this question. What is, like, the number one thing that, like, you know, you're stocking your kitchen, or, like, you're looking for that one amazing tool, or, like, what is it?
A tool? Oh my God.
Or just like the one thing you need in your kitchen.
A good knife. A good chef's knife.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That
like
is...
I literally, like for so long, I've cooked, like I cook a lot. And then I didn't really get a good, like sharp chef's knife until probably like a year ago. And it changed my life. Like I don't understand how I didn't slice my finger off beforehand. Like cutting like a red pepper or a tomato. I didn't even know.
So it's so funny. Like my dad, I always laugh. He like gets me Christmas gifts. And I'm like, this is kind of like a weird gift. But like now I've come to realize that he gives me the things that I didn't know I needed. And last Christmas, he gave me a set of, they're called Zwilling Henkel.
Oh, amazing. Right?
Yeah, knives for Christmas. And I, like, my life has been changed. Like, this past weekend, I went home to visit my mom, and I was, like, trying to make her, like, some dinners for the week. And I'm not even joking you, I dirtied, like, 9 knives at her house. Because I was like, none of these are measuring up. Like, trying to cut things, and, like, it's just not the same, right? Like,
that said, you can also get a sharpener. So people also don't ever sharpen their knives.
Also true.
I feel like I used to buy cheap knives at, like, Winners, and then they'd be dull, and then I would throw them away. I actually recently got a really nice knife sharpener from IKEA. I don't know if you can order those because it's small, but it has, like, 3 little, like, knife blocks almost, and you put it through the 3 stages, and it is, like, a solid knife. It's really good for sharpening knives.
Amazing. Honestly, like, good knife skills are just so important. Like,
it just makes your life easier.
Right? Like, I'm sorry, roommate, I love you, but, like, I came home, and I saw, like, my roommate using a paring knife to chop vegetables, and I was just like, And it was my parent night, so I was like, "Ee." I was like, so one of the great resources I find is like Tasty. You follow Tasty? They have like some good videos sometimes, but good knife skills.
Yeah,
that is
absolutely. Also, salt. I think salt is also really underrated.
Right.
Salt actually will amplify any flavor that you have going on. So, like, I really find, like, even just that dash of salt, if I'm finding it's a little flat or anything, like, salt makes everything taste better. As is butter. I only use butter.
Like, one of the things that I've realized, so, like, I make a lot of soup. It's winter, it's cold. Actually, I make it in the summer, too. I'm a soup addict. But I find, like, if you put, like, a bit of salt in when you start to cook the soup, it's so much better than, you know, at the end. Like, if you have the bowl of soup already and you're like, oh, I didn't put salt in, then when you have the bowl in front of you, you're putting in, like, a whole shaker.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, it little goes a long way. Like, the first
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, totally.
What is your favorite thing to cook at home? Mine is obviously soup.
Okay.
Casseroles.
So I cook this thing called cheese noodles, which is basically stovetop mac and cheese. But when I was a kid, my dad was like, we loved Kraft Dinner, because, like, what kid doesn't love Kraft Dinner? And he was like, this is so unhealthy. So he decided he was going to make his own version. So basically, yeah, it's like butter, milk, and cheese all mixed up in a pot with, like, noodles. But it's just like, I make it now so good. Sorry, Dad, I make it better than you now. But it's like my go-to. That's like my comfort food.
So you're going to be sending me that recipe so we can throw it on the blog with your post.
I know people always ask me the recipe. I don't even know if I could do it. I might have to, like, bring you to my house and show you how to make it.
Our next episode, Cooking with Chels and Gabby.
Cheese noodles, yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for having this chat. I think we're all leaving a lot hungrier.
I think I am. I'll probably go make some cheese noodles right now.
Ooh, I have Luncheon delivered. Luncheon is like really great for entrepreneurs who happen to forget to pack their lunch.
Nice.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. It'd be awesome if you don't want to miss any of these awesome chats. You could press subscribe. Would totally appreciate that. And soon enough, these podcasts will make it to the iTunes store in about 24 to 48 hours. Thanks everyone. Bye.